You didn't just throw stones at me. You built your whole house out of them, and now the walls are caving in. My dear chosen ones, let's be crystal clear from the start. When someone makes you the target of their lies, their pettiness, their sabotage, they're not just messing with you. They're making a long-term investment in their own destruction. And the bill? Oh, it always comes due, with interest they can't afford. Some people think the get back is something you do. They think you're out here plotting, keeping score, waiting to take your swing. The real get back is life itself, rearranging the furniture in their world until every corner feels uncomfortable. It's not you hunting them, it's their own actions chasing them down like a shadow at high noon. Before we dive into the next part, chosen ones, let me ask you for a small but powerful favor. If this message is already hitting your spirit and firing you up, take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support isn't just a button click, it's the fuel that keeps us going, creating more of this raw, inspiring and life-changing content for you. Every like, every subscription, every share helps us pour even more energy, time and effort into bringing you the kind of motivation that keeps you standing tall and unstoppable. So show some love, chosen ones. It means more than you know. Chosen ones, you have to understand something about the power you carry. You are not average. You are not just another face in the crowd. You are the kind of person who can walk into a room and shift the temperature without saying a word. And because of that, people either rise to meet your energy, or they try to pull you down so they don't have to face the parts of themselves they've been running from. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would they risk so much just to see me fall? Because, my dear chosen ones, when you're steady, they feel unstable. When you're whole, they feel hollow. They convince themselves that if they can chip away at you, they can fill their own cracks. But here's the plot twist they never saw coming. Every strike they took at you was actually carving their own downfall. You see, life is like a boomerang made of mirrors. What you throw out always comes back, but when it does, it shows your own reflection. They sent out betrayal, it's coming back wearing their face. They pushed you into hard times, now they're living in a harder one. And here's the part that makes them choke. You didn't have to lift a single finger. Remember this metaphor, chosen ones. You're a lighthouse. Your only job is to stand tall and shine. The ships that crash on the rocks aren't your responsibility, especially the ones that ignored the light on purpose. They saw you. They knew what you stood for. They understood your value enough to try to damage it. And now, as their ship takes on water, they want to act like it's the storm's fault. No, it's the choices they made when the sea was calm. I can almost hear their thoughts right now. Why is everything going wrong for me? Why can't I catch a break? It's because the breaks they thought they were taking from you were actually breaking their own foundations. They didn't just cross a line, they moved in, set up camp, and decorated it. And now the eviction notice is life itself showing up to say, you don't belong here. Let's address the question that's been sitting in the back of your mind. Why am I the one they chose to mess with? Because the higher your altitude, the more visible you are to people who live at ground level. They spotted your potential before you fully owned it. They saw the future version of you, the one who could no longer be controlled, manipulated, or diminished, and they tried to stop it before it arrived. But here's the problem for them. That version of you wasn't waiting in the future. It was already here, building quietly, training in the shadows, stacking resilience like bricks. And while they were busy throwing stones, you were building a fortress. Chosen ones, let their downfall be your fuel. Not for revenge, but for proof. Proof that you don't have to get dirty to win. Proof that when someone tries to tear down what's real, they're only creating the blueprint for their own collapse. Watch them try to hold together the image they worked so hard to project. Watch the cracks spread faster than they can patch them. And the poetic beauty of it all? Your silence is louder than their noise. Every day you keep moving, they lose another piece of the control they thought they had. Every smile you wear, every goal you hit, every peaceful night's sleep you get, it's like another nail in the coffin they built with their own hands. So here's the idiomatic truth of today's message. They played with fire, and now they're the ones smelling smoke. Life is tearing them up, not because you wished it, but because they invited it. The get back they can't handle isn't a plot you hatched. It's the natural echo of their own behavior coming home to roost. My dear chosen ones, stand tall. Don't waste your breath explaining, defending, or warning. Let the show play out. Their collapse isn't your business. Your rise is. And trust me, nothing will hit them harder than realizing you never needed to fight them to win. You just needed to keep standing while their own storm swallowed them whole. Now, let's go deeper, because what's coming next isn't just about their breakdown. It's about your breakthrough and how every crack in their mask is another confirmation that you've always been unshakable. The get back is in motion, and it's hitting harder than they ever prepared for. And before we break this down piece by piece, chosen ones, let me say this. Your presence here is not an accident. If this title spoke to you, it's because you already know the energy of a real get back without lifting a finger. You've felt it, you've seen it, and deep down you know you're built different. So hit that like button, tap subscribe, and drop the number 99 in the comments if you're ready to claim your place among the chosen who watch life tear the mask off those who tried to tear you down. Stay with me, because what we're about to unpack will feel like I've been reading your exact story. Only the chosen recognize these signs. And if you're still here, you're one of them. Now, let's get into it. Number 1. They turned your fall into a show, now their stage is empty. They turned your fall into a show, now they're stumbling on an empty stage. You made me the punchline of your comedy. Now you're headlining a tragedy with no audience to clap for you. My dear chosen ones, let's talk about a certain breed of person, the kind who takes your toughest moments and turns them into their personal entertainment. They sat in the front row when you stumbled, laughing a little too loud, leaning in for every detail like your pain was the plot twist they'd been waiting for. They didn't just notice your fall, they savored it, whispered about it, built entire conversations around it. And for a while, they convinced themselves, and maybe even a few others, that your story had ended right there in the rubble. But here's the thing they didn't factor in. Stories don't end just because someone else closed the book. You, chosen ones, kept writing. You healed, you leveled up. You stepped out of the shadows with a version of yourself so refined it made their memory of you feel outdated. And now, the stage they used to stand on, the one where they played the hero in their fake narrative, is barren. The crowd they once performed for, gone. The applause they craved, dead silent. And silence. Oh, chosen ones, silence is the loudest sound when you're used to being cheered for. It's not that the world suddenly turned against them. It's that the same audience they entertained with your pain is now watching their missteps, and no one's laughing, no one's clapping. People have left the theater, and all that's left is the echo of their own arrogance bouncing off empty walls. I know what you might be asking right now. Why does it hurt them so much when no one's watching? Because their power never came from truth, it came from performance. Without an audience, without your pain to point at, they have nothing, and now they're living in the same kind of isolation they once celebrated for you. Except there's no bounce back for them because they never built anything real to return to. Think of it like this. When you were down, they treated it like a championship game where they just scored the winning point. They threw parties in their heads, maybe even in real life. But that scoreboard was a lie, because the game wasn't over. The whistle hadn't blown. You were still in play, and now, in the real final quarter, they're the ones missing shots, fumbling the ball and realizing the crowd's not even watching anymore. Chosen ones, their discomfort now is the mirror image of the joy they felt watching you hurt. That's the sting, the symmetry of life handing them the exact scene they once enjoyed. You didn't have to lift a finger, no clapback, no revenge plot, just time, truth, and the weight of their own choices. And it's heavier than they can carry. Here's the beauty in this for you. Every bad headline they tried to write for you has now turned into the title of their chapter. Every laugh they let out when you were silent is now replaced by their own sleepless nights, their own anxiety, their own quiet breakdowns. And that quiet, that's what really gets under their skin. Because when they laughed at you, they wanted everyone to join in. But now that they're falling, there's no chorus, just the echo of what they did, bouncing back into their own ears. Picture it, chosen ones. The same person who once looked at you like a failed story is now pacing in their own kitchen at 3 a.m., wondering why everything's falling apart. They're asking, why me? But deep down, they know. They know this is the reflection of every sneer, every whisper, every celebratory smirk when they thought you were done. They thought the lights would never flip. But the spotlight has a funny way of swinging around. And here's where you, chosen ones, win without even trying. You've moved on. You're not in their audience. You're not in their comment section. You're not even checking for their updates. Yet, somehow, your presence, or rather, your absence, is still the main thing rattling their peace. Because the truth they can't swallow is this. They didn't just lose the game. They lost the right to even be in the arena. The world they're in now, it's built on silence. And that silence is deafening. Because it's not mocking them, it's mirroring them. Life isn't punishing them for what they did to you. It's simply returning the energy they sent out, gift-wrapped in their own name. That's not bias, that's balance. And if they thought they could laugh their way out of that, well, that punchline just landed on them. So stand tall, chosen ones. Don't let their old laughter haunt you, because that laughter has turned into the soundtrack of their own collapse. You don't need applause to know you've risen, and they don't need an audience to know they've fallen. Life's not playing favorites, it's just serving the truth, raw and unfiltered. And right now, the truth is all theirs to face. Number 2, they tried to shrink you, but life is shrinking them in full view. They tried to make you small, now the whole world is watching them shrink. You built your confidence on my rock bottom, now you're free-falling with no safety net. My dear chosen ones, there's a special kind of arrogance in the way some people think they can strip you down in front of an audience, humiliate you, and still walk away untouched. These are the ones who didn't just want to see you stumble in private. They wanted you to break publicly. They craved witnesses. They wanted your name to taste bitter in other people's mouths. They didn't just aim for your dignity. They aimed for your identity. And in their minds, your lowest moment was the crown jewel in their personal victory parade. They mocked you. They rolled your struggles across the stage like a trophy. They stood taller in the eyes of others by pushing your head lower. And let's not sugarcoat it, they enjoyed it. The smile they wore when they told that funny little story about you. That wasn't humor, it was ego. They thought, if I can make them look small enough, I'll look big by default. But what they never calculated, chosen ones, is that the crowd that clapped for their show would one day turn around and watch them become the spectacle. Here's the plot twist. You didn't stay broken. You didn't stay in that pit they tried to bury you in. You did something much more dangerous to their ego. You healed. You grew in the shadows. You rebuilt yourself out of sight, brick by brick, with a strength they couldn't track and a resilience they couldn't sabotage. By the time you reappeared, you weren't the same person they humiliated. You were a force they didn't recognize. And now? Oh, chosen ones, the same spotlight they once aimed at you is now burning on them. Only this time, it's not a performance they can control. This is an unedited broadcast of their own unraveling. The people they used to impress are side-eyeing them. The ones who clapped for their cruelty are drifting away quietly. You can almost hear the shift, that subtle but unmistakable silence when people realize the hero in the story wasn't a hero at all. That carefully crafted image they lived for, it's crumbling. The smile looks forced. The words don't land the same. The confidence that used to feel unshakable is now paper-thin. Every time they try to patch the mask, another crack appears. And here's the best part. You're not lifting a finger. You're not plotting, posting, or pulling strings. You're just living. The takedown isn't your doing. It's the weight of their own actions collapsing in real time. Chosen ones remember this. They thought humility was something you could force onto another person, like a punishment. They thought if they could make you bow low enough, they could stand taller. But real humility doesn't work that way. Real humility comes when life puts a mirror in your face and refuses to let you look away. And that's exactly where they are now. Face to face with their own reflection, under lights so bright every flaw, every lie, every manipulative smirk is exposed for the world to see. It's brutal and it's public. The same public they turned against you is now their jury, and no amount of spin can change the verdict. The charm they once weaponized, dull. The influence they flexed, slipping. Every desperate attempt to control the narrative only makes it worse, because the truth doesn't need their permission to breathe. It's already out. You know what really eats at them? It's not just that they're being exposed, it's that you're rising at the same time. It's the side-by-side comparison that's destroying them. They wanted the world to see you as weak, but now the world is watching you thrive while they stumble. Every win you post, every moment you glow, every hint of peace you carry, it all contrasts their unraveling. And let's be clear, nobody's laughing now, not even them. This isn't the slapstick comedy they thought they were producing. This is a slow-motion documentary of how arrogance eats itself alive. And the audience that once cheered, they've gone quiet because it's not entertaining when the bully becomes the victim of their own performance. So, my dear chosen ones, stand in your power. Don't waste energy trying to explain the truth. It's already on display. They tried to humble you in public, but life is humbling them in ways that no applause, no excuse, and no fake smile can cover. And the beauty of it? You didn't have to make it happen. You just had to survive long enough for the curtain to rise on their act. And now, the world is watching. Number 3. The ammo they fired at you is now exploding in their own hands. They loaded the weapon for you, but it's firing back at them. You built the trap. You baited it, you waited for me to step in, and now you're the one caught in it. My dear chosen ones, let's talk about the kind of energy you can't see but you can feel. The kind that doesn't just disappear when someone walks away. The kind that sticks to them like smoke after a fire. This is the reality for the people who tried to weaponize their every move against you. They weren't stumbling into mistakes. They weren't being clumsy with their words. No, they were deliberate, surgical. They sharpened their tongue like a blade, polished their charm to hide their intent, and aimed all of it straight at you. Every lie they told, loaded on purpose. Every rumor they started, dropped like poison into the water they hoped you'd drink. Every innocent joke at your expense, carefully wrapped in fake humor to hide the sting. They thought they were clever, that by mixing cruelty with charm, they could make their attacks look like harmless banter or misunderstandings. But chosen ones, here's the part they could never wrap their heads around. Energy doesn't vanish. It doesn't hit a wall and dissolve. It's alive. It moves. It remembers. And eventually, it circles back. They thought they could sling that darkness and walk away whistling like the debris would never find them. What they didn't know is that you were built differently. You were made to deflect what doesn't belong to you. That means every bit of shade they threw didn't just fail to land, it reversed direction, and now, without warning, it's hunting them. Look at them now, sick in ways no test result can fully explain. Relationships breaking apart for reasons they can't figure out. Financial doors that used to open easily now slamming shut, no matter how hard they push. They're restless at night, pacing their floors, jumpy at every phone call, feeling watched when no one's there. And deep down, they know. They may not say it out loud, but something in them whispers, "This is what I put out." Chosen ones, think of it like a package they mailed with your name on it, except you had a return to sender address engraved in your energy. When it landed back at their doorstep, it didn't just sit there, it opened itself, it moved in, it started tearing down their world from the inside out. That's why their calm feels fake now. That's why their smile doesn't reach their eyes. That's why the mask they wear feels heavier every day. And the cruel irony, you never had to get your hands dirty. You didn't chase them. You didn't try to expose them. You didn't stand in the streets screaming your side of the story. You simply stayed in your lane, and life, in its perfect, calculated way, made sure every ounce of force they used to push you down became the very thing pushing them into the ground. Here's what they never understood. The moment they aimed that energy at you, they wrote a contract with themselves. They gave it a job, destroy you. And when it couldn't complete that mission, it didn't vanish. It stayed loyal to the instructions, but turned on its sender. Now it's completing the assignment on them with interest. Watch closely, chosen ones, because their decline doesn't look like an explosion. It's slower, meaner. It's the little things that pile up until they feel buried. The deal that falls through at the last minute. The friend who stops returning calls without explanation. The sudden tension in places that used to feel safe. The gnawing sense that the walls are closing in. And here's where it gets even more twisted for them. You're not even watching. You're not sitting in the front row of their unraveling, cheering it on. You're too busy living, building, rising. But in their mind, you're everywhere. Every time they see someone succeeding, it reminds them of you. Every time they feel blocked, it reminds them of what they tried to block for you. They can't outrun the shadow they created because it's theirs now. Chosen ones, this is why you never have to fight dirty. People who play with energy like it's a harmless game always forget that the rules are not negotiable. What you send out will come back. Not because the universe takes sides, but because that's the nature of movement. And when you're the one who sent it with bad intentions, the return trip isn't pretty. So hold your head high. Let them sit with the confusion they earned. Let them wrestle with the weight of what they activated against themselves. They can't undo it now. The same energy they tried to twist into a weapon against you has become a curse stitched into their own life. It's not just bad luck. It's not coincidence. It's the echo of their own actions, coming back sharper, heavier, and impossible to ignore. And you're proof that their aim was off from the start. Because while they're breaking under the weight of what they launched, you're still here, lighter, freer, and untouchable. That's the real get back, chosen ones. Not revenge, not payback, just watching them carry the very load they tried to drop on you. Number 4, they thrived on your struggle. Now they're trapped in their own. They drank from your pain like a fountain. Now they're drowning in their own. You fed off my storms like it was your harvest. Now you're stuck in a drought no one can rescue you from. My dear chosen ones, some people don't just watch your pain, they depend on it. They treat your heartbreak, your setbacks, your lowest moments like oxygen for their fragile egos. Every time you stumbled, it inflated them. Every time you cried, they felt a twisted sense of power, like they were somehow winning because you were hurting. It's not always obvious in the moment. They might not openly laugh in your face, but behind closed doors, their smiles were wide. Their conversations were full of your struggles. Your pain gave them something to gossip about, something to twist, something to turn into proof that you were failing while they were thriving. Chosen ones, understand this. They weren't just interested in your pain, they were addicted to it. It was the glue that held their insecurities together. If you started to heal, their glue would crack. If you started to shine, their lies would dim. If you found peace, the stories they told about you would fall apart, and that's why your growth made them itch. Your happiness wasn't just inconvenient for them, it was a direct threat to the identity they had built off your suffering. Think about it like this. You were the main character in the movie they kept replaying in their head, except in their version, you never recovered. They wanted you stuck in a loop, repeating the same scene of loss, sadness, and struggle. Because as long as you stayed down, they could keep playing the role of better than you. But what they didn't see coming was that your story wasn't written for them. You started healing, little by little, step by step. And while you were piecing yourself back together, they were losing their grip on the very thing that made them feel important. Now here's where it gets poetic. Life doesn't let anyone feast endlessly on someone else's pain without sending the bill. And chosen ones, that bill just landed in their lap, and it's a big one. They're now living with the kind of pain that doesn't wash off in the shower, doesn't get fixed with a vacation, and doesn't go away with fake smiles on social media. This isn't a paper cut. This is the kind of wound that doesn't close quickly, the kind that wakes you up at night and sits heavy in your chest during the day. They're walking around with anxiety they can't shake. They're surrounded by people but feel more alone than ever. They can't blame you, they can't point fingers, they can't create a scapegoat, because deep down they know. They know this emptiness is the echo of everything they cheered for when it was happening to you. And the part that's truly breaking them? There's no audience for their pain. No one is secretly rooting for their breakdown. No one's watching their suffering like it's entertainment. The people they once entertained with stories about you aren't clapping for their downfall. They've moved on, and that silence, chosen ones, is crushing them more than any insult or confrontation ever could. They try to mask it. They post the pictures. They force the laughs. They throw out empty affirmations like bandages over bullet holes. But the truth? They can't cover the fact that they're suffocating under the same energy they once lived on. Here's the thing about energy. It's a cycle. If you thrive on someone's pain, you're basically training life to send you more pain, because that's what you've shown it you feed off. They didn't realize that by constantly investing in your misery, they were actually making a down payment on their own. Now, every smile you wear is a reminder of the grip they've lost. Every step forward you take is a reminder that their power was fake from the start. And the deeper you step into your peace, the more trapped they become in their unrest. It's not revenge, chosen ones. It's not you sending anything their way. It's just the natural order of things. When you make someone else's suffering your lifeline, eventually the cord snaps and you're left gasping for air. And the best part, you didn't need to do anything except keep healing. While they were looking for ways to keep you down, you were quietly walking out of their trap. And now they're in a cage of their own making, with no way out. So let this be a reminder, chosen ones. The ones who fed on your brokenness are now choking on the same meal they prepared for you. Life never forgets what people thrive on. It just makes sure they get their own serving. And right now they're sitting at a table they can't push away from, with a plate full of everything they once wished for you. The difference is, you found your way to peace. And they've just been introduced to the kind of pain that doesn't have an exit door. And that is the real get back they'll never see coming. Number 5. Your rise wasn't just a comeback, it was the moment they unraveled. Your comeback wasn't a win, it was the day their mask shattered. You thought my rise was about me? No, it was the mirror that showed the world exactly who you've been all along. My dear chosen ones, this is the part they never saw coming. The part where your comeback didn't just put you back on your feet. It flipped the entire stage and turned the spotlight on them. When you started to rise, it didn't whisper, it roared. It didn't tiptoe past them. It walked right through their illusions and made them crumble. And that's why they can't handle it. Because your elevation didn't just prove you were unbreakable. It proved they were the ones lying, scheming, and building a reputation on sand. Let's call it like it is. For a long time, they thought they were the narrator of your story. They told people who you were, what you did, why you deserved what you went through. They painted themselves as the concerned one, the honest one, the victim in the situation. And maybe some people believed them for a while. But here's the problem for them. The truth has a longer lifespan than lies. And when you came back, you didn't just survive. You came back so clean, so strong, so untouchable that the contrast between your reality and their version of you was impossible to ignore. Your glow became a question mark in everyone's mind. How did you come back from what they described? How do you move with peace when they swore you were chaos? How are you building while they said you were finished? These questions don't require you to answer them. Your life is answering them every single day. And chosen ones, that's the real judgment day. It's not some loud punishment or dramatic downfall for them. It's the slow, steady exposure that happens when the lie stands next to the truth for too long, and the truth wins without even trying. Think about it. They used to own the narrative. They wrote the script, cast themselves as the hero and you as the villain. But now, that script is burning. The audience is turning in their seats. The same people they once warned about you are now looking at them sideways, wondering why the unstable, toxic person they described is walking around radiating peace and strength, while they themselves are snapping, unraveling, and dripping bitterness everywhere they go. This is why your comeback hits harder than any revenge plan ever could, because it's rooted in reality, not retaliation. You didn't have to tear them down. You didn't have to chase rumors or clear your name. You just had to keep building your own lane until the lane they tried to trap you in completely disappeared. Now they're stuck trying to explain the gap between what they said and what everyone sees. And every day that gap gets wider. Chosen ones, here's the part that makes them truly restless at night. They can't undo your growth. They can't rewind the clock and make you the broken one again. They can't repackage you into the character they need you to be for their story to work. Your evolution ripped the pen right out of their hand. Now they have to sit back and watch the real story, the one they tried to bury, rise out of the ground like a skyscraper they can't block from view. Metaphor time. Your comeback is the sunrise, and they're the thief who thought night would last forever. They built their confidence in the dark, thinking no one could see their true face. But when your light came over the horizon, it didn't just illuminate you, it exposed every shadow they were hiding in. That's why your success feels like judgment to them. It's not that you're punishing them, it's that your existence in this elevated form is proof of their deception. I know you might ask, why does my growth bother them so much if they've moved on? Because they never moved on. They moved over to a place where they thought they could watch you from a distance and feel secure in their version of the past. But your rise doesn't allow them to hide there. Every new level you reach forces them to relive the reality that they didn't win. And for people like that, nothing is more suffocating than having their victory erased by the very person they swore was finished. So understand this, chosen ones, your comeback was never just for you. It's the living, breathing proof that no amount of gossip, lies, or manipulation can bury someone who refuses to stay down. It's the loudest kind of truth, the kind that doesn't need to shout because the results speak so clearly. That's why they avoid your name now. That's why they dodge certain conversations. That's why they're bitter without reason. Every smile you wear is a reminder that their power over you is gone, and that's the kind of get-back no one can outmaneuver. And here's the real punchline. They thought your healing would be quiet, private, invisible. But it wasn't. It was public in the best way possible. Not because you flaunted it, but because you live it. Every step you take forward is another crack in the mask they wear. Every peaceful move you make is another reminder that they've been exposed without you saying a word. So keep walking, chosen ones. Keep glowing. Keep elevating. Because your rise isn't just your redemption. It's the day their mask came off. And once a mask slips in front of the right people, it can never be put back on the same way again. That's why they can't handle your get-back. Not because you went after them, but because you outgrew them so far, so fast, that the truth is now towering over every lie they ever told. Number 6. Their empire was built on you, and it's collapsing without you. Their empire was built on your broken pieces, and now it's crumbling to dust. You built your castle with my bricks, but they were never yours to keep. Now the walls are falling, and you can't rebuild what was never real. My dear chosen ones, there's a special kind of collapse that's more brutal than any public scandal or financial loss. It's the implosion of a life that was never truly theirs to begin with. That's the exact storm this person is standing in right now. And make no mistake, it's not because of bad luck. It's because the ground they built on was never theirs. It was yours. They didn't build with you. They built on you. On your silence. On your confusion. On the version of you who was still learning, still stumbling, still patching yourself back together. They turned your struggles into their podium. They wrapped your pain in a story that made them look wise, admirable, even innocent. They needed a villain, and they decided you'd wear the mask. And for a while, it worked. Oh, chosen ones, it worked better than it ever should have. They gained attention. They gained sympathy. They gained influence. People listened to them like they were some beacon of truth, not realizing their so-called wisdom was just your pain in disguise. Every lesson they shared was a twisted echo of something you lived through. Every warning they gave others had your name written in invisible ink. But here's the problem with building your world on someone else's downfall. When that person rises, your whole structure starts to crack. And you rose, not loudly, not with fireworks or grand speeches, but in a way that made the old version of you vanish completely. The wounded you, gone. The confused you, gone. The reactive you, buried and replaced with someone who no longer flinches at their name. That's when the unraveling started. Because without the broken version of you to point at, their stories stopped making sense. The drama that once bound their circle together lost its grip. People started asking the questions they never wanted to hear. How is this person thriving while the so-called victim of their story keeps falling apart? The contradiction became too loud to ignore, and once people start noticing cracks, they start pulling at them. That's when credibility drops. That's when masks slip. That's when the air in the room changes, because the energy they were riding on isn't there anymore. You, chosen ones, were the quiet foundation they depended on. Not for love, not for support, but for status. You were the unspoken currency that made them look important. Without your pain, their platform collapses. Without your struggles, their stories run dry. Without your shadow to stand against, their light fades out completely. So now their relationships feel hollow, their energy is flat, their conversations have no weight, and no matter how hard they try to rebuild, it's like stacking cards on a table that's already shaking. Why? Because the truth is, they never had a solid foundation to begin with. Their empire was nothing but borrowed bricks, and you just took yours back. Imagine watching your house fall apart piece by piece, and realizing every beam, every nail, every plank was stolen from someone else's home. That's the reality they're choking on right now. And here's the part that makes it sting even more. You didn't have to fight to take it from them. You just healed. You just stopped reacting. You just lived. And without that version of you they built their identity on, they have nothing left to stand on. Their downfall isn't a lightning strike from nowhere. It's a slow erosion, a steady dismantling. Every time you smile, a brick falls. Every goal you hit, another wall leans. Every peaceful night's sleep you get is like another crack running down the center of their world, and it's driving them mad because they can't figure out how to stop it. They can't rebuild what was never truly theirs. So let them scramble, let them patch the walls with borrowed words and fake confidence. It won't hold, because when the foundation is a lie, the collapse is just a matter of time, and right now, time is doing its job. Chosen ones, let this be your reminder. You never needed to tear them down. You just needed to stop holding them up. And once you did, gravity took care of the rest. Their world isn't falling apart because you wished it. It's falling apart because it was built on stolen ground. And without you, they're standing in the rubble of their own design. The get back? It's not you chasing them. It's you walking away. It's you reclaiming your pieces. It's you becoming so unrecognizable from the version they fed on that they can't use you anymore. And for someone who's only ever known how to rise by standing on someone else, that's the ultimate collapse. Life is tearing them up, chosen ones, because they never learned how to build on truth. And without you as their foundation, they're learning the hard way. A house built on someone else's brokenness can never survive once that someone is whole. Number 7. They bet against you, and now the odds have turned on them. They thought the odds were in their favor, but the house was always betting on you. You thought you were playing me, but the deck was stacked long before you sat at the table. My dear chosen ones, let's talk about the illusion of getting away with it. Some people really believe that if their moves are quiet enough, their whispers soft enough, and their sabotage subtle enough, life won't notice. They convince themselves that the absence of immediate consequences is proof they've outsmarted the game. What they don't realize is that the game already knows the outcome, and it's never been in their favor. They thought you were just another player, just another name they could block, discredit, or quietly push out of the way to keep their own seat secure. They thought that if they spread the right lies in the right corners, manipulated the right minds, or froze you out of certain opportunities, they'd win by default. But chosen ones, you are not built on default settings. You are the glitch in their system, the one variable they didn't plan for. Here's where they went wrong. They mistook your stillness for surrender. They thought your lack of retaliation meant they were safe. They mistook your quiet for weakness, not realizing that silence can be the most dangerous move on the board. Because while they were plotting their next jab, life was taking notes, and those notes were not in their favor. Think about it. The moment they decided to undermine you, they were gambling with house money. Every smirk they wore in your presence while holding a blade behind their back, every room they walked into and casually shifted the narrative against you, every obstacle they placed in your path, it all got logged. Not in some grand, dramatic flash, but in the quiet ledger that life keeps on every action we take. And here's the thing about life's ledger. It doesn't rush the payout. It doesn't storm in like a scene from a movie with lightning bolts and instant justice. It waits. It builds. It stacks the weight of their choices until the day they can no longer carry it. And that day, chosen ones, is now. At first, it comes subtly. Opportunities that used to fall into their lap, suddenly gone. People who used to hang on their every word, drifting away. The influence they once wielded so easily, slipping like sand through their fingers. They're still trying to tell themselves it's just a rough patch, but deep down they feel the pattern. They know these aren't random losses, they're echoes. And it doesn't stop at surface-level inconveniences. It creeps into their peace, their sleep starts breaking into fragments. Conversations don't feel as easy. Relationships they depended on for validation begin to feel shaky. They try to trace the source of the tension, but they can't, because it's not a single person doing it to them. It's the collection of every choice they made against you circling back. Chosen ones, the beautiful part is this. You didn't have to do a thing. You didn't have to explain yourself in every room they poisoned. You didn't have to clap back on every rumor they floated. You didn't have to waste your time chasing them down with proof, because life has a way of flipping the tables so cleanly, it leaves you out of the frame entirely. They're not losing because of something you did. They're losing because of everything they did. Imagine them sitting there, wondering why their winning streak suddenly turned cold. It's like they're in a casino, throwing chips into the middle of the table, and every hand comes back a loss. They're looking around for someone to blame, but the dealer? The dealer is life itself, and the rules were never on their side. And that's the real shock for them. They truly believed the odds were in their favor. They believed you were a small obstacle on their way to bigger things. They believed their charm, connections, or careful manipulation could shield them from the truth. But the truth doesn't care about appearances. The truth doesn't need an audience. The truth just needs time. And now it's here, cashing in every debt. You're still standing. Your peace has outgrown their gossip. Your stability is louder than their performance, and that, chosen ones, is the part they really can't handle, because their entire strategy depended on your collapse. The moment you didn't crumble, their blueprint fell apart. So, as they sit in the quiet, watching things unravel, remember this. The universe didn't suddenly pick you halfway through the game. It was always tilted in your direction. Not out of favoritism, but because the truth is undefeated. You played with authenticity. They played with manipulation. And when the final score is tallied, authenticity always holds more weight. They didn't expect life to side with you because they couldn't see the rules they were breaking. But just because you can't see the current doesn't mean it isn't pulling you under. Now, they're feeling that pull. And every attempt to swim back to shore is met with the drag of their own past moves. Chosen ones, your job is simple. Keep walking, keep moving forward without turning to check if they're catching up. They're not. The get back is already in motion, and it's not yours to manage. All you have to do is keep rising, keep winning quietly, and let the scoreboard speak for itself. Because here's the final twist they never saw coming. Life wasn't just keeping score. It was keeping receipts, and now every single one is being delivered to their door, marked payment due. Number 8. Your wins are the mirror they can't bear to look into. Your rise is the mirror they can't bear to look into. They wanted you in pieces because your wholeness makes them face their own cracks. My dear chosen ones, let's cut straight to it. There are people out here who could heal, who could grow, who could transform into something greater, but they won't. Not because the path isn't there, not because the tools aren't within reach. No, it's because you have already walked that path, you have picked up those tools, and you are living proof that it can be done. And that, chosen ones, is the part they cannot stomach. Your very existence has become a mirror they can't bring themselves to look into. Every step forward you take doesn't just mark your progress, it exposes their refusal to move. Every milestone you hit, every goal you smash, every time you show up lighter, stronger, more grounded, you're silently asking them, why haven't you done the same? And instead of answering that question, they'd rather slam the mirror face down and pretend it's not there. Here's the truth they won't say out loud. Your glow exposes their shadows. Your peace makes their chaos impossible to deny. Your strength is a constant reminder of the weakness they tried to hide behind their attacks on you. You were the person they thought they could break and walk away from with their ego intact. But instead, you rebuilt yourself piece by piece, and in doing so, you stripped the cover off every excuse they've been telling themselves for years. I know what you're thinking. Why don't they just use my progress as motivation? Because chosen ones, to do that, they'd have to admit two things. First, that they were wrong about you, and second, that they've wasted energy on tearing you down instead of building themselves up. For people who've built their whole self-worth on feeling superior to you, that kind of admission feels like death. So instead, they choose bitterness. They can't stand that your wins are real, earned and undeniable, so they twist themselves into mental knots, telling anyone who will listen that you're not really doing that well or you just got lucky. It's not about the truth. It's about creating a version of reality they can survive in. Because the actual reality, it's too heavy. Chosen ones think of it like this. You are a living before and after photo they can't escape. The before is the old version of you they mocked, underestimated and wrote off. The after is the current you, unbothered, thriving, resilient. And instead of celebrating the transformation, they cling to the before like it's the only safe ground left for them to stand on. Because if they acknowledge the after, they'd have to ask themselves why they're still stuck in their own before. They wanted you broken, not because your pain benefited them in any tangible way, but because your brokenness made them feel whole by comparison. Your struggles were the backdrop for their self-importance. Your silence was the stage for their ego. But now that you're thriving, their insecurities have no hiding place. Watch how they react, chosen ones. Notice how your smallest victories set them off. A promotion, a new opportunity, even just the way you carry yourself now. It's all too much for them. They sulk, they gossip, they become strangely obsessed with watching you, even while pretending you're irrelevant. They lie to others, and more dangerously, to themselves. They need the illusion that you're not really doing well because the truth is poison to their ego. But here's the part that will always tilt the scales in your favor. You didn't do any of this to them. You didn't take from them, block them, sabotage them. All you did was refuse to stay down. You faced your pain when they ran from theirs. You put in the work when they looked for shortcuts. You stood up when it would have been easier to lay low. And now, every piece of evidence of your rise is like a flashing neon sign pointing to everything they've avoided dealing with. They could heal if they wanted to. They could put in the same work. They could stop resenting and start repairing. But that would mean taking responsibility. And for some people, that's the one step they'll never take. Until they do, every time they see you, hear about you, or even think of you, they'll feel that sting, not because you've wronged them, but because your life shows them what they could have been if they'd chosen growth over ego. And here's where you, chosen ones, have the upper hand without even trying. You're not out here to trigger them. You're just living. You're breathing freely, moving forward, stacking wins, and they can't handle it. Your victory has become their personal torment, not because you're flaunting it, but because you've made it impossible for them to hide from themselves. So keep rising, keep shining, keep walking into rooms with that quiet confidence that says, I know what I've survived. Because the higher you climb, the louder the truth becomes. And for them, that truth will always be the hardest thing to face. Your life is the proof they never wanted to see, and that's exactly why they can't heal. Not now. Not until they face the one thing they've been running from, their own reflection. Number 9. Every seed of sabotage they planted is now growing in their yard. They're choking on the harvest they planted in secret. You thought you buried me, but you were just planting your own downfall. My dear chosen ones, let's rip the mask off this one. What they're going through right now, it's not bad luck. It's not just a rough season. It's not some random streak of unfortunate events. This is the return shipment of every single package of negativity they once sent out with your name on it. They're not getting hit by coincidence. They're getting hit by collection day. You see, when they were busy scheming behind closed doors, whispering in corners, blocking your name in rooms you hadn't even stepped into yet, They felt untouchable. They thought their moves were invisible. They thought silence was the same as getting away with it. They told themselves no one saw. But chosen ones, life saw, energy saw. And here's the rule they didn't know. Energy doesn't just vanish. It goes underground, like a seed in the dirt, biding its time for the perfect season to grow. And guess what? That season has just arrived. Every smirk, every fake smile while they plotted, every poisonous word they dropped into someone else's ear, all of it has taken root. And now, they're living in the exact reality they built for you. They're getting the sleepless nights, the closed doors, the whispers in rooms they aren't invited into anymore. Only difference. This time, they're the target. The wild part, chosen ones, is that it's not even about revenge. This isn't you plotting, clapping back, or playing dirty. This is simple cause and effect. They didn't just plant negativity, they nurtured it. They watered it with malice, fertilized it with gossip, and tended to it like it was a prized garden. They didn't realize that every weed they planted in your path was sprouting in theirs the whole time. Here's the mental picture. They thought they were building a trap for you to fall into, but what they were actually digging was their own grave. One shovel of dirt at a time. And now, they're waist deep in it. The air's getting thin, and there's no one running to pull them out because they made sure to burn those bridges a long time ago. Look at what's happening now. Relationships falling apart for no obvious reason. Plans that used to flow now crumbling halfway through. A heaviness they can't shake no matter how much they smile for the outside world. And the most terrifying part for them, there's no clear villain to point at. No scapegoat to blame, because this isn't something being done to them. This is something happening through them. The storm is in their own hands, their own choices, their own energy coming home to roost. Chosen ones, you know how they used to paint themselves as squeaky clean? The innocent one, the good guy or good girl in every story they told. That costume doesn't fit anymore. The truth is showing through the seams, because when you live long enough, truth always catches up. And this moment, this isn't random. This is clarity. Every move they made, every version of the story they twisted, every time they smiled in your face and stabbed you in the same breath, it's all back. And it's loud. You can't hide from a harvest. You either eat what you planted or you choke on it. And right now, they're gagging on the taste of their own medicine. I know what you might be asking. Why now? Why not back when they were at their highest? Because, chosen ones, timing is part of the hit. If consequences came too early, they'd just call it bad luck and keep moving. But when it comes right after they've convinced themselves they've won, it's devastating. It hits harder because it's undeniable. They can't chalk it up to coincidence anymore. This is cause and effect in surround sound. Picture them now, sitting in their own mess, trying to figure out how everything slipped through their fingers so fast. They're replaying the past, whether they admit it or not. Every little harmless thing they did to you, every cruel laugh, every door they closed on you, it's now a brick in the wall that's closing in on them. And here's the part they'll never admit out loud. Deep down, they know you were never the problem. They know you didn't deserve it. And that knowledge is the real torment. Because now, life isn't just dismantling their comfort. It's forcing them to live face to face with the truth they buried. So stand tall, chosen ones. Don't get caught looking back or wondering if you should check in on them. You don't need to. You've already been cleared from their mess. The show they're living through now is one they directed themselves, and the ending isn't looking so glamorous. Remember this, the get back you're witnessing isn't petty, it's precise. It's not about punishment, it's about reflection. They're not just losing things, they're meeting themselves in the mirror for the first time, and they don't like what's staring back. And as for you, you're walking free. You're proof that no seed planted in malice can destroy someone who's rooted in truth. Let their garden of weeds be a lesson they can't unlearn. You don't have to step foot in it, chosen ones. Just keep walking toward your own field of growth while theirs wraps around their ankles and pulls them under. And that, chosen ones, is the reality they're choking on right now, not by accident, but by design. The same field they planted for your downfall is the one swallowing them whole, and there's no way out except to face what they've done. You don't need to interfere. You don't need to explain. You just keep moving forward, knowing that the get-back they can't handle is the one they created with their own hands. If this hit you in your spirit, if you felt yourself nodding because you've lived through this kind of reversal, show some love. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel so you never miss another message like this, and drop the number 77 in the comments so I know my real chosen ones are here and awake. And don't keep this to yourself. Share this video with someone who needs the reminder that their peace is the real victory. The energy you put out matters. Chosen ones, and yours is building the life they could never take from you.